Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at. My name is Matthew Jaroslawski. This is going to be my first attempt at a screencast here. I'm going to be doing my microcosm presentation for ecology, and hope you enjoy it. So, first thing I'm going to do is kind of give an outline of how I'm going to present this information. I've got my PowerPoint up. That's going to capture all of my images as we went throughout this project. It'll also capture the logs that I've completed from week 1 to week 7. I'm going to bring in Google Earth here to kind of show everybody where I pulled my sample from. So I'm zoomed out. You've got the state of Pennsylvania here. I'm located in central Pennsylvania, down by Harrisburg. This is more or less the city of Harrisburg here. I work down in the city, and on my way home from work, I decided I would get a sample at this park here. It's called Wildwood Park. It's kind of like an urban park setting. There's a lot of trails that go around a wetland right here. Place to hike, walk around, ride your bike, push the kid in the stroller, that sort of thing. But you can see it's located next to major urban complexes. This is actually a railroad that runs adjacent on the west side here. And then you've got major trucking hubs that come also on the west side. And then on the east side, you've got a major route with all sorts of neighborhoods out there. So it's kind of like a little reservoir, in the middle of the city. So I came and I drove and parked right here, walked down the trail just a little bit, and then right about in this area there was an access point to the water down here. So I walked down there, and that's where I pulled my sample from. And I was careful to get what reflected the kind of shore of where the water comes up to the trail. So I got some deeper dirt, and then some top, kind of sediment, and then also a couple, well, I should say just one plant species, which appears to be clover. So that's where the sample's from. I guess kind of rolling into week 1 here. I didn't really, I guess I got behind. I didn't really know what we were supposed to be doing. I didn't see the submission for the microcosm assignments, and so I kind of blew through week 1. I did my my log here, but I didn't take a photo on week 1. But yeah, on my log, on my log, I've just got the basics captured. I drew my mason jar here. At this point, the soil was all kind of mixed up. It was, it hadn't really settled. It was very moist, and obviously the clover was literally just sitting right on top of the dirt, and there it hadn't taken root again yet. So I wasn't very hopeful for it. I didn't think it would get enough sunlight, and I didn't think it was going to make it. But as you can tell from my notes, it did get a lot of sun that week. It was really mucky and saturated and swampy. I thought perhaps I had overdone it with the moisture, and that it was just gonna rot in there. And I didn't see any heterotrophs. So that kind of summarizes week 1. Week 2, I finally got my head on straight, figured out what was going on. I got my photo here. Obviously not the best photo, but I'll cover that. This week, what I observed in my log is, that the soil was starting to settle towards the bottom, and I could see a layer of water at the top. And I did observe a couple leaves start to sprout from one of the clovers. It kind of looked like one of the smaller clovers I had planted went away, but one of them also took off and started to sprout leaves. So a little bit of progress there. Things were growing. This week it was actually pretty dark for natural sun, but I turned on the kitchen lights and kept it under some artificial light to try to help it out. No change in color or texture. Still didn't see any heterotrophs. And let me explain the picture here. So you can see all the muck and mud on the side of the jar here. My son actually got a hold of the microcosm, and I don't know if he shook it or what happened exactly, but yeah, it got kind of nasty. I didn't, again, I didn't think it was going to make it after that happened, but it did. So moving on to week 3. Again, sorry for the poor photo. I don't know what I was doing there. I guess that was the best photo I could get. But you can see down in there, the plant has taken root at that point. It looks like it grew a little more. There was an indication that a second plant had sprouted. Soil looked to be about the same. Colors were about the same. And that was it. I still hadn't seen any heterotrophs or anything in there. No indications that they're in there. Week 4, finally getting my act together with the photos for week 4. But yeah, the two plants had really taken off in week 4. I'd say they had about 1 inch of growth and several leaves sprouted. Good natural light this week, 50% natural light. I had the jar sitting in a windowsill in the kitchen. Yeah, I would say overall the clover doubled in size between week 3 and week 4. Week 5, I actually don't have any data on. I don't know what happened during this week. This was right around Christmas, and I think it was just like the holiday blur. I don't know if I forgot to submit it, but I went back to my camera. I couldn't find any photos or logs from week 5, so I do apologize there. But I do have week 6. Again, this photo really shows how the 2 plants have sprouted. Again, they grew another inch between week 4 and week 6 there. But they've also sprouted a separate, set of leaves midway on the clover there. This week, what I really started to notice was the soil and the sediment was really beginning to settle, and the moisture content really went down from the surface down into the soil and the sediment. And I started to see these little air pockets down in the soil and the sediment. And I don't know if that's an indication that there is like heterotrophs in there somewhere that I'm just not seeing, or if that's just kind of the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen cycle creating those pockets in there as the roots go down. So, but I thought that was interesting for week 6. Again, the plant's got good color. Looks like it's doing very well. And then week 7 here, I actually just did this morning. The plant has really begun to bloom. The leaves have doubled or tripled in size. The soil It's hard to see in the photo here, but I'll show you in just a minute because I've got it right next to me. The soil has really separated between the sediment and the soil, and those pockets are still in there. But yeah, overall good growth between week 6 and week 7. We didn't have a whole lot of sunlight this week, but I left it in the windowsill just to see what it would do, and it did quite well. The color, the greens are really popping, and you know, it's looking like it's doing good. So I've got the microcosm right here. I want to try to show you. I don't know how good you'll be able to see it. You know, obviously there's still a bunch of soil and stuff. That doesn't help, does it? There's a bunch of soil and stuff still on the side of the jar, so it does make it hard to see. But the sediment, you can really see the top layer there is like real fine sediment, and then the below that, about 1.5 inches, is a dark black soil inside of there. So that concludes my presentation and kind of the overview of my microcosm. I'm going to keep it around. I've grown attached to it. I'm gonna just leave it in the windowsill and see what it does. But I appreciate everybody's time and interest, and look forward to seeing all your presentations as well. Thanks.